Hey y'all, it's your girl, and we back for part two.
So many reasons why I want to for you, my love. Now you I want to retire with my love. See what you did,
So in part one, we went over how to create our heart square. Now, since we're working on a cardigan, we're gonna have to make multiples of these. And how many do you think that we'll need? We need 18 squares in total. I'll insert my inspo pic that I got off of Pinterest so you guys can see kind of the flow of what I'm going for. So we need 6 squares for the back panel, 4 for the front panel, and 8 for each sleeve, equating to 18 squares. I feel like I want to add pockets to this somehow. So I created 2 extra blank red squares to be on the inside part of my pockets. Step 1 is to get all our materials together. Okay, so I have my 18 squares. You can make these squares however you want following part 1's tutorial. I'm going to work with my 5mm hook. Some red weight 4 yarn. Scissors. So first thing I want to do is organize my squares how I want the layout to be. And I'm going to start off with the back panel, sewing everything together, how I sew everything together, and adding pockets and all of that. Okay, so now that I've picked my back layout, I'm going to start connecting my squares. So I'm going to connect them on the right sides out with single crochets. So I have my red yarn. I'm going to make a slip knot. And I have my 6 squares here. I'm just going to flip them with the wrong sides facing each other so I can start connecting the outside seams. So to connect my outside seams, we're going to start at the corners, the middle stitch of our corner. So that treble crochet that we created in part 1, we're just going to put our hook through the front loop only of both treble crochets. So here's my 2 front loops. I'm going to now connect my red yarn, pull through, chain 1, and then just single crochet these 2 sides together. Front loop only. So we're going through both front loops, pulling up a loop and pull through both for our single crochet. And we're just going to do that along this one side.
So we're going all the way till we get to our next treble crochet.
And when you connect your two squares, they should look something like this in the middle. So now I'm going to connect the two top squares that are above them by also putting them two wrong sides together. And right where that treble crochet is, we're gonna go through the front stitch of both trebles. And continue to single crochet all the way up. So I connected these two sides, my side and my middle, with a single crochet. So now I'm going to fasten off this strip. And now I'm going to connect these two sides. So we grab our yarn, make a slip knot, and from our corner, front loop of our trebles, 1, 2, 3, 4, add our yarn, chain 1, and we're just gonna front loop only, single crochet all the way up. So now we got these two. Now we're going to connect these top two. Front loop of the treble in the corner. And we're just going to single crochet that all the way up. So now we finished that, and we're just going to chain 1, fasten off, and cut our yarn. And this creates our back panel with our 2 stitches coming down each side. So now I'm gonna add 1 row of single crochets, front loops only, going across this middle. So I finished off my middle row of single crochets across. So my whole back panel is now connected, and I'm gonna work on the front. So I'm gonna turn my back panel to the front side, and we're gonna start with the right side of the cardigan. So for my right side, this is going to be the top of my front. This is going to be the bottom and the pocket. So what I'm going to do is attach the red to the inside of the blue with only 3 sides, leaving 1 side open. So it's going to be this side that's open. So I'll connect these sides. I'm going to do it with the right sides facing each other. And front loop only, I'm going to start in the corner with the front loops of my treble crochet in the corner. So treble and treble. Put my hook through the front of both of those squares. Attach my yarn and make 1 chain. And I'm just going to single crochet all the way around. And I'm just tucking my yarn as I go. So I fasten off my yarn after I do my 3 squares. So that is my pocket. I'm just gonna turn this inside out. So that way I could stick my hand in there. Then I'm gonna add my top half. with this front row. Of the double crochets like that. Just slip knot, and in my treble crochet corner front loop, I'm gonna attach my yarn. And single crochet in the front loops of both panels. And that is our right side panel with a pocket. So now it's time to add the front panel to the back panel. So we're going to single crochet across, and we're going to add the sleeves. So this is going to be my sleeve. And I'm just going to single crochet from this corner all the way down. And we're working the front loops of the double crochets. Gonna make my slip knot. And starting from the treble crochet in the corner, front loop, and here where the two panels connect, we're gonna loop it through the front and the back, and we're gonna pull our yarn through all three loops. Pull through a chain one, chain two, and then we're gonna go in with the single crochet through the same loop again in the top of our last back panel. Single crochet, and then we're just gonna do one single crochet in the front loop of every stitch going all the way down. So now that I've attached the front panel to the back panel, I'm gonna attach the top of the first two panels for the sleeve. So I'm gonna go in the front loop of both treble crochets, single crochet, and continue down these next two panels. Now we've attached the first panels for the sleeve. Now we're going to attach the last two. Again, go into the front stitch of each treble crochet. With a single crochet and single crochet all the way to the end. And once we get to the last two trebles, we're gonna put our last single crochet, chain one, and fasten off this stitch. And that's our sleeve. So now we're going to connect these panels here in the middle. As well as to the back panel. So I'm going to take my slip knot, the first single crochet in the middle of our front panel, I'm going to put my hook through and slip the yarn through, and attach it to the treble crochet of the first panel for the bottom of the sleeve in the front. Gonna fold in my sleeve. Gonna go through the first stitch of the top front panel, the treble crochet, and the treble crochet of the first panel of the bottom of the front of the sleeve, single crochet, and then we're going to go across till we get to the back of the sleeve. So now when you get to the corner, the last corner at the back of the sleeve, you're gonna go through the 2 middle panel treble crochets and put a single crochet in all 3. And in the first single crochet on the back of the cardigan, you're gonna slip stitch into that and fasten off. So here's your front panel, back panel, your top sleeve panel, so your shoulder and now your bottom 2 panels. So we're gonna single crochet from these trebles on the end to these trebles. Single crochet straight across, going through the front loops of both sides only, starting at your treble crochet. Slip knot. And pull through. So we put in our last single crochet in our trebles. Gonna pull through one, make a chain and fasten off. And this will be the right side of our sweater. So now we're gonna connect from the base of our pocket in the back cardigan around to the bottom of our sleeve. We're gonna do one connecting stitch all the way down. So to connect the pocket to the back of the sweater, we're going to start from the top of the pocket and the bottom half of the back panel. And we're going to connect those two in the middle, come all the way down, and we're going to do a stitch coming up on the outside to make it even, and then connect it down. Grab our yarn, make our slip knot, and at the top corner of the pocket, we're going to slip stitch through the top stitch, that treble crochet, and this front treble crochet of the back panel. We're going to slip our yarn through there. And now we're going to go the back panel, the back loop of the pocket, and the front loop of the back panel. We're going to single crochet in, and we're going to do that all the way down. So the back loop of the pocket and the front loop of the back panel, single crochet. Back loop, front loop, so now I'm at the bottom of the pocket in the back panel. I'm going to go into the treble of the back panel and the treble of the front panel. And slip knot through, chain one. After we go into that treble, we're going to do a single crochet through that full stitch, and then we're going to do a single crochet in the front loop only, going up. The front panel. And when I get to the treble crochet corner of the front panel, I'm going to put my single crochet in both the front and the back loop. So now to connect my middles, I'm going to go from the back, the back of the back panel and the front panel, connect those two with a single crochet, and then the bottom of the sleeve, the bottom of the front panel, and the front of the front sleeve. I'm gonna slip stitch, chain one, and then through the trebles of the front and back sleeve trebles, we're gonna single crochet, and now we're going to work up the bottom of the sleeve. So we've connected our front and back panel fully, including our pocket area. And now we're going to do our outline for the bottom sleeve. So we're doing the front loops of the bottom of the sleeve to do our single crochet. And we're bringing it all the way to the end of the sleeve. And for the middle of the sleeves, I just connected the first single crochet of both bottoms with a single crochet. And then here are my trebles is where I'm gonna fasten off. And our right side is complete. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the left side. And I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so this is how far we got on our sweater. Pockets. So now I'm gonna work on a trim around for the sleeves and the collar, lapel, bottom. And it's gonna be like a super easy Tunisian kind of stitch. So let's get into that. Okay, so like I said, this is a freehand cardigan, and I ended up doing a single crochet ribbing around the neck and collar part of the cardigan. So before I did that, I added a single crochet trim around the entirety of the cardigan. The cardigan opening. The stitch I was doing before, I did not like. So I went with this. I thought that this worked out really well. So I'm going to show you how I did it. Now that I have to do the bottom part, I already did around. It's going to be the same exact thing. But for the front opening, I just went around and my chain started with 7 for the bottom. I'm going to start my chain with 10. So I'm going to grab my yarn, do my slip knot. And at the corner stitch of the lapel, I guess we'll call this the lapel, I'm gonna insert my hook, pull up the stitch, and chain 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think that's long enough. And I'm going to go in these back loops of the chain. So here's the front of the chain, the back, and I'm gonna go in, pull up a loop. So I have 2 loops on the hook, and then pull through both with my single crochet. And I'm going to add 1 single crochet in each back loop all the way till I get to the beginning. Okay, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single crochets. So in the same stitch that I added my yarn, I'm just going to slip stitch right into there. So I'm gonna go up 1 stitch along the border and slip stitch, and then turn my work and I'm going to single crochet back up the same part, but back loops only. So we're gonna go into that first stitch. I like to tuck my yarn as I go, so I'll just be tucking. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and in this last, where we did our first round, that last stitch in the corner, that chain space, I'm going to add a single crochet in there as well. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. Gonna chain 1, turn my work back, we're gonna skip this first single crochet from the previous round, go into the back loop of the second stitch with a single crochet, and then we just single crochet again all the way up to the border. Okay, and then in the next stitch of the border is where we're going to do our slip stitch to connect. Gonna turn my work, and in that back loop we are going to add our single crochet and go all the way down. And this patterning, I'm just gonna repeat all the way around the bottom. That is what I did around the collar part. So I did them separately, starting from the base of the pocket up and around the collar down to the other base of the pocket, detached my yarn, and then attached now for the bottom. Okay, so I made it all the way to the end. I'm gonna chain 1, turn my work, and we're gonna go in now, skip that first single crochet and back a loop of the second crochet. We put our first one, and we are working back up this row. And as you could see, it starts to create this straight edge, which I love. And we're just gonna bring that all the way up. And in that next stitch of the border, we're going to put our slip stitch to connect this row. And this is what we have. So I'm just going to continue to do that all the way around till I get to the end. And then we'll get to the sleeve part. Another thing you can do if you don't want to, well, I guess if you want to minimize the amount of spacing here along the border, when you slip stitch and connect your row to the border, you can go up one stitch as well, slip stitch into that to create a height. Then turn your work and add your single crochets after that. That would stretch out the bottom a bit and give you this flat edging right here. In my last stitch, I put my single crochet in that little chain space. Chain one, turn my work. Skip that first single crochet and then we single crochet up these back loops. And then we slip stitch into that border, that next stitch on the border. Slip stitch in that next stitch. Turn our work and single crochet in the back loops only. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna go with the 2 slip stitches along the border for the bottom. So I suggest you do that for the bottom as well as around the collar. Remember, for the bottom I did a chain 10, and around the collar I did chain 7. And I'll meet you back at the end of this base and we'll get into the sleeves. Okay, so we made it to our last row of the bottom. So I'm just adding my last row of single crochets. And we're just going to slip stitch into the bottom of our lapel panel. Chain one and fasten off. So here I'm just going to leave in my ends, well, my one end, just bringing that through our single crochets. Just bring this back up. And we're done. So here is our bottom all the way across. So now we're going to work up our sleeve. So I have my yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to start from the base of our sleeve, so that inside part of our sleeve, and I'm going to connect my yarn to this first corner here, going through both loops, not just the front one. Gonna pull that through, chain two. Gonna go into the outside stitch and make a single crochet, and on this outside stitch for the next square, in that corner we're going to put a single crochet. So we're gonna do a single crochet decrease all the way around for this first round. So we're gonna go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, go into the following stitch, pull up a loop. So we should have 3 loops on our hook, and then we're just gonna pull through all 3 loops. So go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, following stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops. And we're doing that for this whole round to start to cinch in our sleeve. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through 3, pull up, pull through, pull up, pull through, pull up, pull through, pull up, pull through. And then we're just gonna slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet that we made in that brown. Chain 2, and now we're gonna alternate between single crochet and a single crochet decrease on this second round. So we're gonna go into that first stitch with a single crochet, and then go in that next stitch, pull up a loop, following stitch, pull up a loop, and then we're going to pull through all 3, making a decrease. So following stitch, single crochet, next stitch together to make a decrease. So single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. Here we should be at the end, and we're just gonna slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet we created. So that starts to shrink. Well, that shrunk our sleeve opening. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did at the base and the collar of our cardigan. So now we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to work on these back loops of our chain. So here's the front of the chain, here's the back. We're going to work in these grooves right here. And in each one, we're going to go in and put a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, single crochets, and then we're going to slip stitch into that same stitch, go up 1, stitch, slip stitch into there, turn our work, and then through the back loops we put single crochets going all the way to the end. And that last chain also gets a single crochet, giving us 7 single crochets. Chain 1, turn our work, and again back loop only. We put 1 single crochet in each stitch. And in that top stitch right there, we're gonna slip stitch in, turn our work, and go back down, single crochet. So I'm gonna follow this for about 14 rounds, 14 rows. And after that, I'm going to slip stitch up 2 for the border. So slip stitch up 2 and then go in. So I'll meet you back after round 14 so we could see how we increase that. So I did my 14 rows, chained 1, turned my work. Now working up the back loops. And I'm going to slip stitch into the next open stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch to create height now, turn my work, and then continue working those back loops. Chain 1, turn my work, work up these back loops, and in that next open stitch, we're going to slip stitch into there, slip stitch into the next stitch, turn our work, and back loops only. And I'm just going to keep repeating this all the way till I get to the last stitch of the border. I'm just going to work all the way around the sleeve, and then I'll meet y'all back at the end so we can connect and fasten off our sleeve. On my last row, so we're going to do our single crochets in this back loop. And I'm going to slip stitch into that same stitch that I just worked. And I'm going to fold my 2 ends together with the outsides facing each other. And I'm going to take the front loop here with the back loop, well, I guess front loop for this side, of the other side and just slip stitch. Well, single crochet. So I put my hook through the front and the front, loops only. Just gonna pull through and create a single crochet. So I'm gonna do that again. And then again. Okay, and then in that chain space, that chain one space, we're going to add our final single crochet, chain one to fasten off. And then just weave our tail in. And that is our sleeve. Now you're just going to repeat the same on the second sleeve. And you have your 2 sleeves done. And that completes our sweater. So we've completed our sweater. Here's our sleeves. Our lapel. Bottom, the pockets. And yeah, we're done. I guess at this point, if you want to add a zipper or buttons, that is completely up to you. I feel like I want to add a zipper, but I don't know. But this is what we got.